So I got a video request today to talk about being overly affectionate when you have BPD. It was phrased as, can you talk about overly affectionate BPD? And I think that's what it meant. So in this video, I'm going to explore why this would be the case for some borderlines, along with some things we can do to avoid idealizing our partners and finding our foundational sense of self. So with me, being overly affectionate was definitely the case when dating my husband. Since some borderlines are prone to idealize and devalue relationships, which is black and white thinking, also known as splitting, we're prone to idealize and devalue our partners the closer that we get to them. So I think that we're also prone to fall deep into infatuation when we first start a relationship. In the beginning of a relationship, the intimacy feels very rapid. It's rarely ever a slow burn, more like a wildfire of lust and infatuation that we might mistake as love. That's not to say we are incapable of being in love, but we also have a lot of infatuation running the show. I think a few signs that we're being overly affectionate are wanting to talk to our partners or crushes all the time, thinking about them throughout our days, and shaping our days based off of that person's schedule, which isn't always bad, but can lead to disappointment. Borderlines can also be guilty of love bombing. Love bombing is basically bombarding our partners or crushes with phone calls, gifts, messages, compliments, which is nice but can be overwhelming to most people. I tend to love bomb because I feel like I have a purpose for living when I'm in love. That is so unhealthy, but it's the truth. I feel like when I get into a relationship, that new relationship energy is almost like a drug, almost spiritual to me, because my whole day is derived of what they're going to think of me. It's like I'm obsessed with how they view me and if they're going to approve of me. And I get a high out of imagining and fantasizing about our next hangout or some love bombing that I may receive in return. But the downside is I can feel overly sensitive, especially if I see that they aren't loving me as hard as I'm loving them. And by not loving me, I mean not, doting over me and love bombing me in return. In short, love bombing and having BPD runs the risk of you splitting on your partner later on. In my mind, it's all connected. The idealization, the infatuation, the new relationship energy, and the actions and behaviors that come from feeling this strongly about your partner. It can all lead to a crushing disappointment that you will either take out on your partner or take out on yourself. For me, it can lead me to suicidal ideation, relapsing on self-harm or doing drugs, and a period of push and pull mind games that include withholding and overgiving affection ad nauseum. I also think that we are prone to love addiction as borderlines. Unless you're a borderline who wants to avoid all relationships. I'm speaking mainly to the ones that are in relationships and, deal with that infatuation phase that I was talking about earlier. I feel like we're prone to getting that high when we're interacting with our partners and when we're imagining how this new person in our life sees us, because now we can see ourselves in this new light as well. We can see ourselves with this inner confidence that we never felt before. And I think that's the root of my love addiction, at least. Like, I finally have a mirror to look into that shows me that I'm not a piece of shit. Like, it's just so hard for me to feel that self-esteem when I'm alone. So this one person who I think is so great cares about me, and for once I feel like I have confidence within myself. Thankfully, I'm working on this love addiction thing. I've lived with it for so long, and I now understand the way that it works, and I understand that it will always kind of be a part of me because I didn't grow up with a foundational sense of self. And just like BPD is a part of me because I didn't grow up with a secure attachment style, I know that these traits will be dormant in me until I can unlearn them. Despite how far I am in recovery, I still need to take steps every day to break out of the habit of finding purpose solely in how one person sees me, because that's not the way I want to live anymore. What I've done to refocus my life around me instead of another person and their perceptions of me are, I really get to know myself, as cliche as that sounds. I will train myself to spend more time with myself, and this doesn't include like lounging out and, watching Netflix to escape or something like that, but to really learn about myself by writing in a journal, recording these videos, for example, and talking to people about my experiences, whether that be friends or my therapist. I try to understand my fears, what my untainted interests are, not interests that I chose just because I was influenced by someone close to me or someone that I'm idealizing, but interests that I know come from me and are genuinely what sparks my enthusiasm. A few things I can list off the top of my head are video games, obviously The Sims, helping others, helping my loved ones. I care about justice. I care about art. I care about movies. These are things that I have enjoyed over the past few years, despite who I was closest to at the time. So I know that these interests and traits come from within me. And I try to make a list of these things and try to incorporate these activities in my life every week, even if it's hard to be with myself due to that emptiness that we feel as borderlines. I try to inch in some alone time each day so that I can grow accustomed to being with myself and doing things I love to do. Then this will bloom into being capable of self-soothing and self-care even when I'm by myself, and eventually I'll have this cycle of positive self-soothing behavior so that I don't fall into love addiction even when I am currently in love. So that's where I'm at now. I'm recovering from love addiction and BPD at the same time, and all of that is possible because I put effort into knowing myself more day by day. Not to say I don't have bad days and I don't slack on doing my self-work, but the fact that it's just a routine and a part of my life now really instills my foundational sense of self and keeps me from clinging to my partner and keeps me from being in a codependent relationship. So thank you for watching and requesting videos. I'm thinking of starting Twitter and IG. My name on there is going to be Your New Pen Pal. Feel free to leave me video requests on there if you want me to cover something that I haven't talked about yet, and maybe we can become pen pals. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks again.